welcome. And this is our top 10 video.
Yeah, this is a bonus that we promised when we got 100 subscribers. We hit that this week. So thank you for all of you who have subscribed. But this is our top 10 video, and it's not, I would say, it might be Luke's top 10 of all time, based on the fact that he hasn't been gaming that long. But for me, I'm going to say this is my top 10 of 2013, like the games that have been in my top 10 for this year. As far as the games I've played a lot this year and things that I've really been interested in. So there's a lot of really great games that we've reviewed already and that are on my shelf, but they weren't my top 10 for this year. And anytime there's a top 10 video, like, it always creates controversy. People are like, how dare you not put Agricola at number 1 or something like that. But these are our just personal lists, our preference, what we like. So at any rate, I think in keeping with tradition, we'll roll our introduction now and be back with our top 10. Okay, so this is our top 10, and this is our top 10 for life. Maybe it is for Luke, because he's newer to gaming, but this is just my top 10 for this year. Stuff that I played a lot this year, stuff that I've really enjoyed this year. So this is the kind of more like our hotness 10 than our all-time 10. But the top 10 games that I would like to play right now, in this moment, from recent memory, what's enjoyable to me. Not my desert island, I can only take 10 lists with me, which may be a little different. These are just what I think is really great right now. So what's going to happen is there's going to be some duplicates since we're doing 2 10 lists. And if there's a duplicate, then, well, Luke will handle it and he'll tell you how it's going to go. If we have a duplicate, like your number 10 is a duplicate, how's that go?
My number 10 actually appears on your list, so that's pretty much what an example is.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it later when it appears on my list. So also my number 10 appears on Luke's list a little later, a little higher on his list. So I won't mention my top 10, my 10 either. So our 10s are hidden. All right, let's move on to number 9.
Number 9 actually appeared on my dad's screen. Yes, it was number 10, and it is King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo. My 10, Luke's 9.
I like it because it just plays out well.
Yeah, it's a quick little dice rolling game where you get to have a slugfest and go at each other. And actually, spoiler alert, that's so cliche to say. We're actually reviewing this one next week. So there'll be a review of this one coming out. We already filmed it. We just need to edit it and put it out. But next week we'll be doing King of Tokyo, so you can learn more about that one later. All right, my number 9 actually appears on Luke's list later.
My number 8, I think, is your number 9.
And
we're finding a pattern. So, which it is Ticket to Ride Europe.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride Europe was my number 9 for this last year or so. Why do you have it on the list?
I have it on the list because it's a lot like Airlines Europe and Expedite, and that's kind of a category of games that I like.
Like the route building type games, huh?
So,
I like Ticket to Ride, the game period. It's just kind of a cool little like rummy type, make books of colors and then put them down. If you wonder why we're looking down below the camera a little bit, it's because we have our list posted right below the camera. So we're not good at reading a teleprompter. But I like Ticket to Ride a lot. Europe adds a couple extra, like, little more difficult features into it. And this is something that all 3 of us will play. Me, Luke, and myself, Luke, and Kristen. And I said that with really improper English. I'm sorry about that. If you're trying to learn English from this video, well, sorry. But Europe, shout out to Europe. How you doing, Europe, out there? We like you. Ticket to Ride Europe. And we're huge in Sweden, I guess. People like us in Sweden. So if you're from Sweden and you're watching this, awesome. I think it's cool that you're watching. My wife, Kristen, has a lot of Swedish ancestry. So we have Bundust and Potatiskorv and Dalahorse or Dalahessen at Christmas time. So that's a little shout out to the Swedish people that watch, which is way disproportionate to the rest of the world. So thank you for the support, Sweden. Okay, anyway, that was a little tangent there. My number 8 actually appeared as Luke's number 10, and that's Guildhall. This is a little bookmaking game where you use the powers of a card in conjunction with how many you have in your set that you set up, called your guild, and you get to do other actions and interact with other people. We're going to review this one real soon, too. It's a real fun little game. It's growing on me. It probably wouldn't have been on the top 10 list a month ago. Now it's at 8. It might be even higher in a few weeks or months. I really enjoy it. There's also an expansion for it called Job Fair, which adds more characters. What do you think?
I like it because pretty much the same reason you like it. You make nice little books, and the powers kind of give it a twist also, so.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Luke's number 7.
It actually appears on your list.
It does. My number 7 is a game called Mascarade, and we will review this one someday too. It's like a hidden roles game, and the thing that's so fun about it, it's almost like it has the same feel as the Resistance or something, but like you basically are trying to collect coins, and your identity sometimes isn't known to everybody. There's times when it's definitely not known to you, and then for people to call your bluff, they have to have the card that you say you have in order to not be penalized. So it's just kind of a crazy, like, just guessing game, take the money game, mess with other people game. It's a lot of social fun and interaction. I had a hard choice between 3 games that I was only going to put one of them on at this point, which have the same kind of like hidden deductive party game kind of feel. The 3 games that were my finalists were The Resistance, Avalon, Masquerade, and The Coup. I didn't put The Coup on because it's not out in general distribution yet. It should be out in the next couple of weeks, but I feel like The Coup is a great game, and it will knock this game off the list when it's widely available. But for now, Masquerade is really fun, and it's a different game than The Coup. It's worth owning both. So, Masquerade, number 7. Number 6.
My number 6 is Expedite, and like I said, I like the rummy type games, is what my dad called them, I think. And it's basically Ticket to Ride. It just has the same feel, route building, but it has a twist. That's what got it higher. And the twist isn't like a complex twist that makes it kind of hard.
Yeah, it's Ticket to Ride, but it's not Ticket to Ride. It's a little different, but you do this weird like battling dynamic for getting control of different ports or airports, I guess. And then you also have you share points too, which is kind of interesting. It's a good game. Certainly did not make my top 10 though. And that one, if you're curious about it, we did review it earlier on. It's a good game, and it's available pretty independently. I think it's available everywhere on Amazon, but it's some guys from Indie put it out independently. So that's kind of an obscure pick, but that's a good one. Luke went to a deeper cut for that one for his list. My number 6 is Sentinels of the Multiverse. And this game's really fun. It's a good cooperative game. If you have any comic book fans in your family, or you have people who enjoy comic books with you, this game's awesome because you take on the identity of a superhero and you go out and you kick butt based on having this deck of like cards that it's not just that the theme is different in each deck, but how the deck plays out is different with each character. So like it's almost like there's different mechanics with each character. Like one of them, you get to take a lot of cards out of your discard and put them into play. Another one, the discarded cards give you power. Another one, you keep adding attachments to you, and you start real weak, and you get better as you play. Another character is not very good ever, but his powers heal and buff up other characters. So it's a real fun game. You're fighting evil. It feels very thematic. It feels like you're doing all these things. Very immersive. Just a fun game. Number 6, Sentinels of the Multiverse for me. Number 5, Luke.
My number 5 is Suburbia. I like the feel that you're the mayor of a city and you're just expanding your city to make a nice community, and how it's kind of like gripping you in the game because it's like, oh man, I can't put my people right next to the factory because they won't be satisfied.
Yeah, it's a cool game, very much. It would have been close to making my top 10, I would say. It's very up there for me too. I definitely support you having it in your top 5 even. It's a great game. One of the best games that's come out in the last year or so. However, my number 5 is a game called Skull and Roses. This game is a lot of fun because we'll review this one someday too. It's a game where you just have this like bluffing thing going on where you try and bid and bluff and find a certain number of roses without getting flipped a skull. Like it's like almost like finding a whammy or something. It stops you. But there's just a lot of bluffing involved in it. It's a really interesting, just cool game. And it's sort of in the same realm as the Masquerade, all those games, but enough different that I felt like it deserved to be on here. If you guys have ever played Liar's Dice, it's very similar to that, but just a little tweaked and I think even better. So Skull and Roses is my number 5, and that largely has to do with the group of players that I play with too. Okay, Luke, so you're number 4.
My number 4 is Carcassone. Like I said, I like the map games.
Tiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different because you're all going on the same board and you're trying to claim land.
Yeah, so you like it kind of like how you like Suburbia, but it's different enough. And you really aren't building a town, you're building a countryside. It's a super simple game. It's way simpler than Suburbia too. So I think it's something you can really introduce non-gamers to. It's a cool game. It's a classic. It's something that... It's just like a classic. It's like owning Beatles CDs. You have to own them. I mean, even if you aren't crazy about them, you have a lot of respect for them. And that's how I feel about Carcassonne. I have a lot of respect for it. There's other games I'd probably rather play, but it's a good game. My number 4 is Trains. It's got the same deck builder, kind of like get a hand and do something with it. Buy cards, add them to your deck. Kind of feel. We did a review of this one. If you want more thoughts on it, check that out. But it's a good game. It takes that whole deck building type of game and adds a route builder to it, area control type thing. So very cool game. Number 4 is Trains for me. Number 3 for you.
My number 3 is Puzzle Strike. It's a lot like Dominion, which was a game that I really liked, but they're practically the same thing. But also, it's video game and manga themed, which video game plus manga equals awesome for me.
This was close to making my list too. It is a lot like Dominion, but I think it's a little better than Dominion because you have more player interaction. You attack each other and fight. So it's like King of Tokyo and Dominion had a baby almost or something. Real fun. I think it's a cool game. It would probably be my number 11 if we did our top 11s. All right. My number 3, though, is a game called Airlines Europe, which Luke had at number 7. First, my thoughts on it are it's a cool game. It has a beautiful board. You put these little plastic planes on the board. By the time it's done, you have this like wide array of all these colors on there. It's really kind of visually engaging. But it's sort of a route builder, but it's more of a like stock building and dividend paying type game, economy game. The reason why this is so high on my list, though, is because it's been a hit with everybody I've played it with. It's a very truly underrated game. I think this game is just huge. I think maybe the title of the game is like, and the art and the cover, like maybe are taken away from it. Like it's called Airlines Europe, so it's like, I don't know. It feels like you're buying a piece of a series or something almost. I don't know. If it was like called Union Pacific or something, it might be. That's a little joke because this game used to be called Union Pacific. But it's a good game. It's a really good game. And I think more people should play it, honestly. Luke, what do you think about it? You had it on your list.
Like I said, I like the route building type of games. But you can also kind of be a little bit of a jerk in the game, too. Like, let somebody build up lots of planes and then, like, play down a whole bunch of color of that card and get more shares.
Yeah, let them do all the hard work and then you get all the points. That's fun to do. This game we will do a full review of soon, as it's on both of our lists. Number 2, Luke.
My number 2 is Rise of Augustus,
which we reviewed this week. So if you want more information on that, check out our review. But why did it make the list?
It made my list because it's a lot like Bingo, and I just like the push your luck type of game. So
yeah, there's a little bit of push your luck in it with how you take the tiles and things. But I'm not near as big a fan of this game as Luke is. Not even close to my top 10 list, probably. It's an okay game, though. And I understand why he likes it. He loves that bingo thing. My number 2, however, is a game called Tales of the Arabian Nights, which I feel like would have been pretty close to making Luke's top 10. It's like an experience more than a game. You just kind of read through this choose-your-own-adventure book, and you sort of make decisions based on your encounters you have. So an example would be you'd go to a city, and there you would encounter a prince. And when you saw the prince, you have a choice to either honor him, attack him, steal from him, all these different things. And when you choose one of those things, it gives you a number, and then you read a paragraph that corresponds with that number. So an encounter might go, you honor the prince. When the prince is honored by you, he feels flattered and asks you to join his party. He gives you extra money and things like that, and like your story develops and you become more interesting and more powerful as the game goes on, because you have this like journey that happens and you have tales that happen along with it too. So that's my number 2. It's just an interactive, fun activity called Tales of the Arabian Nights. Almost not a game, but it's on this list, and deal with it. So number 1, we're down to number 1.
Although I actually have something to say about Tales of Arabian Nights. It's
Yes.
actually probably my number 11.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like it too. Number 1 though
is Super Dungeon Explorer, and I think this is also manga and video game themed, like an old arcade machine.
Yeah.
But pretty much like you're going through a dungeon, and I like how there's a dungeon master. It isn't just like flipping cards, and it's like monsters move 3 right, 1 left. Yeah.
And I also think you like it. I mean, I'm speaking for you. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you like it because it's real involved. You get involved in the game, and you feel like you're that character. You're involved in it, and you're immersed into it. I like this game okay too. It's probably my top 20, but it's not in my top 10. It's a fun game, and I like how the minis are. It's a beautiful game, really cool game. I'm interested to see us try some other games eventually, like Descent and things like that. But at any rate, on Luke's top 10, I'm surprised he didn't put Mice and Mystics on there. Would that be an honorable mention?
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Mice and Mystics, but
this just in, Mice and Mystics, new number 1.
There's a tie between Super Dungeon Explorer and Mice and Mystics. Mice and Mystics actually wins by a nose.
Oh, so there's a 1A, Mice and Mystics. So Luke really loves Mice and Mystics too. That one will get reviewed on here eventually too. But they're kind of like similar types of games. And you know what's funny about that is like I have games that would be really high on my list too, but I left them off because I was trying to make a well-rounded list. Not all worker placement games, which is kind of what I like right now. So you're thinking worker placement games. He hasn't really had one of those on the list yet. Well, I'm going to put one on right now. Now, my number 1 game for this year so far has been Manhattan Project. And I know it didn't come out this year, but it's a great game. It does the worker placement thing a little differently than others do. I like how you build your own little like camp of factories and like how you choose when you pick things off and on. The art's really cool on it. The little like minion looking meeple-y cardboard guys are awesome. The other games that probably would have made my top 10 list if I was going just pure top 10 like games that I just love. I think the other ones that might Belfort probably would have made this pretty low on the list, and maybe not quite making it would be Lords of Waterdeep. But those are other good worker placement games that strike me as being enough similar to this game that I left them off, but they definitely deserve honorable mention. So any other games that you might want to mention before we wrap this up today that are just like of note? I'm going to say this. There's some cooperative games that didn't make the list that we play quite a bit of. Flashpoint and Pandemic, those are both excellent games. Those are down the ways. I think you like those pretty well too.
And actually, that made me remember Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island.
Those
both
are good
very
ones too.
Similar games. So.
And there's another one called Hanabi. That's a cooperative game that we've played quite a bit this year and enjoy. That one can be tense at times and make families argue. Yeah, I think there's other ones too that would make this list. Not make this list, but if we could definitely do a top 20. And maybe we'll do a print version of this list on our website. If you want a print version of this list, though, go to our website, dadsonandgame.com. Other places where we're available at are, we're also available at facebook.com/dadsonandgame. We are further available at youtube.com/dadsonandgame. You can subscribe to us there if you'd like to. And the reason why we did this video is because we've got 100 subscribers. So thank you for subscribing and being a part of watching our videos. We hope we keep improving. But right now we're in a busy part of the year with school for Luke and myself. And hopefully we have some really clever ideas for this summer for things that we want to do. So keep watching and hopefully we'll keep improving. Anyway, thanks for all the support so far. And we really enjoyed doing this to this point. Have a good week or whatever, and thanks for watching.
And actually, Jerry mentions school.
Yeah. Alright, let's not think about work/school anymore. See ya. Bye.